Everyone wants to get better. It's a massively healthy mindset to have regardless of skill level, age, or end goal. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the concepts and mindset you need to improve. Every stream I get questions, many of them asking how to improve in a certain aspect of Siege. So after the stream, I typically assess the questions that I'm asked and determine which were asked repeatedly, and I try and think where I can bring value to you guys. Do any warrant their own video? Are there topics that I've covered before but simply need a stream command to quickly link them over to it? And now I love these questions. Each have their specific reason and answer, but the majority of them share a common theme. This theme is the concept of wanting to improve, regardless of the specifics, whether it be a simple sense command or as complex as asking for tips about how to mesh with a team when some of the teammates have difficult personalities. These specific questions are what makes streaming so interesting and engaging. So what I want to talk about instead here is the general concepts that each share and how it applies to Siege as well into life. This simple concept is work ethic. Work your ass off. Now, how you do this can vary. So I'll go over what this means to me for both in Siege and my current aspirations as a content creator. For Siege, it breaks down into research, practice, play, then analysis. Research is something I naturally do for any game I pick up because once I start wanting to play a game daily, it becomes an obsession for me. I scour the YouTubes for any type of content and consume a massive amount of it whenever I have free time. For me, this ended up mostly being at work at the expense of my work productivity, but I do not recommend that if you don't want to get fired. Practice began once I got some recommendations into what some pros were doing, and I started doing T-hunts basically whenever I wasn't in a match. And speaking of matches, the play aspect is simple. Play matches, try and win. Then came the analysis section. Now this is something I do after every round in my head. I analyze what happened and how I could improve the situation. This covers the gauntlet of every video I've ever made, as well as every video that'll be up and coming to you guys. These are the basics of where I get my ideas from. What can I do to improve what just happened in that last round? And now I understand that Siege is just a game, bro, but like anything, if you sink tons of hours into something and you're passionate about it, wanting to be the best that you could possibly be at that activity is most likely something worthwhile for you. But this concept is clearly something that extends beyond Siege, because it doesn't matter what you want to do. If you want to be good, you need to practice. You want to be good at shooting people in Siege? Practice shooting dudes. T-hunt, aim train for hours. Study maps, study strategies, watch people who are better than you, learn. You want to be a baker, for example, bake a shit ton of cookies. Be the goddamn cookie monster. Bake so many cookies you have to go door to door giving them away in order not to die from sugar overdose. Well, not now, pre-corona maybe. All right, bad example, but you get my point. Now this shouldn't be news to most of you, but I have been reminded that some people do not understand that you only get good with practice. And I'm harping on this because of an exchange I had in my Discord, where someone came in and simply asked the question of how do I get better? One of my community members did my job for me, thanks dude, and answered, T-hunt 1 to 2 hours a day and you'll be gold in weeks, which was met with a response I did not expect. And instead of responding with simply something like, okay, I'll go do that, his response was 1 to 2 hours, you're tripping, dog. Upon seeing that comment, my thought was, wow, that person will never be good, at least until his mindset changes. And hey, that's fine. If you're not willing to put in the work, just be okay with sucking. Don't get mad when someone who works harder than you is better than you at that activity. Don't be upset when you don't hit your shots. Don't rage when you position yourself in a dumb spot and get slapped. I mean, clearly you can rage all you want, but realize the only thing you should be pissed at is yourself for not putting in the necessary work to be successful. Now, this is not the first time, nor will it be the last that I mention on this channel, but being such a tall dude and naturally good at the activity, I wanted to be a pro basketball player when I was a kid. Now, I was a dumb kid and clearly didn't understand the amount of work that was necessary to be at that level, or would have worked harder, and I didn't practice enough. I didn't play enough. I didn't hone myself into a situation where I could have been at a pro level. And sure, I practiced a ton and I could shoot like no tomorrow. Like, my nickname was Dark Nowitzki, or pro player, tall white dude, worked. But I never worked out enough or gained the jumping ability I needed to compete with some of the taller players or some people who could literally almost jump over me. This concept can be said about literally anything. You want to work out and get in shape, but you only want to do upper body workouts? Well, you'll become the never skip leg day meme. You'll look all types of funny and be messed up due to imbalance. And bringing this to Siege, do you grind out your aim, but you never work on your positioning or constantly bring operators that make you struggle with dealing with the current utility meta? Well, you're going to get slapped once you get to a certain level. Task yourself to improve in all aspects of the activity that you are dedicating yourself into. Attempt to improve both the mechanical and the mental aspects of those tasks. Be prepared for the ups and downs of any task that is challenging and ultimately worthwhile. But at the same time, make sure you enjoy the journey as much as the end result. Sure, I love when I notice that I'm improving and when I gain ranks or when I see the output of the work that I've been putting in. But also realize that part of the fun is figuring out what the problems are that you have to solve, so that way you can eventually crack them. I hope this helps in your journey through Siege as well as in life. As always, my name is Jpeasy. Take it easy.